Hello all heroes and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe. And today we are finally going to be talking about the poster child of the entire IP basically, Mark Grayson, aka Invincible. The man himself, pretty much the poster child, the namesake, all of that. It's this guy right here. Mr. Invincible himself. In the game here, he is coming to us as an attacker. His faction is Earth's Defenders, rather. And his tags are viltrumites, humans, last line of defense, melee, flying, and attacker. So, this guy is pretty much hailed as one of the best characters in the game, certainly the best DPS in the game, even topping Omni-Man as far as this game is concerned, and we're going to take a look at why by diving into his skills. His first skill here, Supersonic, is his main skill. Invincible flies incredibly quickly from one enemy to the other, dealing 180% damage on each hit. So basically, he just flies through a bunch of fools and does fast damage. Just flying around, he really can't be attacked in this state, and just does some nice quick damage on the enemies, and it hits like an actual truck. So you're already off to a great start there, because that just can really pound down some enemies, especially if all 5 of the enemies are still alive and gives him lots to work with. He can just dash around, it's especially helpful if he's getting pinned down by a defender that's got him just completely shut down or anything. He basically just flies away and hits everybody. His next ability that he unlocks at Elite Plus is Going Steady. While fighting with a last line of defense ally, the team's ability cooldown is reduced by 5%. Now, we don't have a lot of last line of defense characters right now. However, the 2 we do have are Adam Eve and Omni-Man himself, 2 of the other best characters in the game currently that we'll talk about in the future. But basically, as long as he's with either Omni-Man or Adam Eve, the whole team just gets an ability cooldown speed up. 5% is kind of one of those things where it doesn't look like a lot on paper, but it can certainly add up, especially when you're running characters with very important abilities. Someone like Alan, where his ability is basically a death save. If he can last long enough, he might get to use it again if he's running with Invincible and last long enough. All because of this ability here. Next, if you get Invincible up to Exceptional Plus, you're looking at Inner Viltrumite. This is basically almost his Enrage ability. When Invincible's HP reaches 20%, his Viltrumite powers are triggered and he is immune to all damage for 5 seconds. This ability has a cooldown of 30 seconds. So basically what this looks like, once he drops down to that HP threshold, he basically gets a yellow shield around himself. I don't think it technically counts as a shield, I don't know. I don't know how a shield buster like Monster Girl would react to this. I would assume that she wouldn't crack it like she would a destructible shield, but I can't say for sure. But basically, for the next 5 seconds, he just gets straight up damage immunity. He can just do whatever he wants, and if the enemies are beating on him, he doesn't care. And keep in mind, he'll be getting this ability charged back up, and the longer you last, the more quickly you can use Supersonic, which is definitely what you want. Additionally, if he's using this immunity ability, if he's taking a lot of the aggro from the enemies, the rest of your team can just go wild and do their attacks. It basically turns him into just an invincible tank, pun slightly intended, for 5 seconds. Not bad at all. And then if you do get him to Epic Plus, we have Go for the Big Guy. Triggered at the start of battle, once every 25 seconds, Invincible increases his attack by 5% for 5 seconds and attacks the enemy with the highest attack power. So effectively, starting at the beginning of the battle and then every 25 seconds, his attack goes up by 5%. His already pretty impressive attack, mind you, his attack stat is quite good as an attacker, goes up by 5% for 5 seconds, and he will immediately go after the enemy team member that has the highest attack, just trying to straight up take them down before they can do any damage. Basically, trying to knock off the biggest piece on the board. It's a nice thing because, first of all, it's an attack buff. You cannot go wrong with an attack buff on Invincible because its attack is already sky high. And then if you do manage to take down the quote-unquote big guy on the enemy team, that basically can protect the rest of your team from getting pummeled as they clean up everybody else. So all of these factors basically has cemented him as the current best DPS in the game. Even if you're running against content where you're at a major disadvantage, Mark over here can definitely turn the tides, because between this ability doing extremely high damage and then this ability giving him damage immunity, yeah, he is extremely useful. I have gotten no shortage of flack for the fact that my poor Invincible over here is only epic. I want to get him to epic plus, believe me, I do. It just ain't worked out. And yes, I could have used some green ghosts or red rushes or war womans back during the Allen event, but I wanted an Invincible or an omnipotent plus character just for giggles. Sue me. It's maybe not the best choices in the world, yes, but definitely looking forward to the day that I can get him up to epic plus, because once we get there, yeah, that'll be nice. That will be really nice. I do also want to briefly point out artifacts, because as we play the game, artifacts are kind of hard to get. But as we play the game, we will get more artifacts. I have a few here already. The burger here, you kind of get at the beginning of the game. And then body enhancement, you get as part of your intro quest, basically. And then I also have the battle hologram here. Battle hologram would probably do really well for Mark. Reason I say that is when he uses his ability, and I assume that basically means his main ability, it reduces his allies' cooldowns by 10%. He can use his ability pretty quickly, because the more he does damage, the more he gets to charge that up. So that does work out quite nicely there. Additionally, a few other options that you do have here. You do have a Neuralink chip if you're fighting other Invincibles. He can basically give 3% of his already impressive stats as a buff to his allies, but of course that's only helpful if you're actually up against another Invincible. And then another one here, if you do manage to get it, the GDA cloaking device. The hero using it becomes invisible for 3 seconds and their critical damage is increased. This effectively just makes him unhittable. It's almost like another version of invincibility where the enemies can't target him, and he basically gets about 3 seconds to just do whatever he wants. Definitely a very effective pseudo invincibility. It's not technically invincibility, but it's pretty much the next best thing. I don't believe any of these would be too crazy for him other than the ones I've just named. I do want to do a video in the near future going over all of the different artifacts, because a few of them are really good and a few of them are meh. But that's neither here nor there. We're just talking about Mark, and Mark is an absolutely fantastic character. If you ever see him in the shop and you've got the dossiers to summon him, again, make sure you have like at least 5, because you're going to be really disappointed if you miss out on a perfectly good Invincible. But that is all we have for today. Let me know down in the comments below if you have your Invincible trained up. A lot of people agree that he is probably the best character in the game right now, or certainly one of the best at the very least. So with that, that is all we have for today. We shall see you next time. Have a good one.